Hey guys, DJ here with GameTime Michigan, and today we've got something special planned. Next to me I've got Adam AJTBLS Teshuba. He most recently just won GGP Detroit, and we're going to sit down and have a little VOD review of, at the very least, the final match with him to kind of get his thought process and, what he was thinking, in the pivotal turns and things like that, to try to all learn a little bit and improve as players.
Happy to be here, and let's go ahead and get started.
Alrighty, here we go. So we're going to kick right off. Beginning of game one. We're just going to kind of go 2x speed on this, and then if there's a point where you want it to stop and talk over something,
sure,
let me know. Otherwise, we'll just kind of speed through to the action.
Okay.
Make sure we're still good here. Yep, good enough.
I believe I lose the die roll on this, which is quite important. Obviously, that goes without saying. He has an advantageous deck, especially game one. So I was really hoping I could go first and have a chance of opening Dust Shoot and not have completely dead cards, because Dust Shoot's going to be probably dead after turn one. But I think he does win the die roll. We'll find out in a second.
You guys had some history too. You played during the Swiss, and he beat you, right?
Yep, he beat me. I had him against the ropes. Yeah, he rolled a 9 and I rolled a 5. That's right. I had him against the ropes, and I wasn't expecting ceasefire. I just had lethal, and I go to summon an attack for game, and it was just he ceasefired me for exact at 1500 with 3 monsters.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, I remember this now. Yeah. So he opens delinquent, game one, and then I'm trying to see what my hand is. I don't have Sinister, that's for sure, if I'm taking forever. So yeah, I threw away Faith. I think I recall that I just wanted to secure a light right off the bat. Space is my space. And then he goes into pot, so we're already in a really big detriment. And he mind controls, takes Spy. He fortunately has none in his main deck, so we get a +1 off of that. And then he just brings out Tribe to attack me. So I'm quite good with this in this spot because he took a -1 and then he didn't.
You're kind of happy with him dumping his Tribe so early too, right?
Exactly. I was like, I main that Kaiku. If I can get a Kaiku and just try to run this thing over, that'd be huge. I obviously don't draw one. And he's going to have to pitch for Spellcaster here if he wants to do any pressure. When he didn't, I was like, wow. That's a huge mistake because now my Tribe can just sit there. It's going to need Ring to be cleared now, or Ninja Grandmaster. He lets it go. I assume he has Solemn down there, and he's right for not solomoning a Nobleman. His Reaper's not really doing much.
In general, how's this matchup feel like game one?
Brutal.
Really, game one?
Really brutal, especially when they open better than you. Your way of winning and coming back is going to be through your Gravekeeper Spy. And while this is annoying, Goblin Attack Force killing my Spy, we have any monster can kill that, and there's no immediate pressure from that. So if I have a Dekoichi set here, we're in a good spot. Yeah, it's just a Serpent, that's right. So we're just trying to level out the playing field. He only has 1 card in hand, and I don't really think we're at risk of dying, so trying to run this thing over is a no-brainer. I think we're at 64 at this time. We've only taken a Tribe hit. And
despite the start, you're actually not in a terrible spot right now, right?
It's not. It could be a lot worse. Could be a lot worse considering what went down. So he lets it die, and then his hand was Blade Knight, and then Rhoda's pretty tough because now he's just we're taking a lot of damage. I think he made a mistake here. He probably should just be taking Tribe. He's trying to really get in there for damage. So that 17 will bring us to 49, and then he'll attack us with that. We'll go down to 26, I assume. And we're thinking about adding the Serpent or not, playing around Dust Shoot here. So checking his graveyard, trying to figure things out, because I think I did just draw a nice card. So yeah, I remember this sequence here. I decided not to pick up the Serpent. So this is an interesting line here. I bring out BLS before I bring out Zork, and it's because my graveyard only has one light in it. So I knew that he had Solemn. So now I can bring out Zork, right? Because I have my light. So I already knew that this Chaos play wouldn't go through. So I needed to do the BLS first and kind of act as like a sacrificial lamb to trade with the Solemn so that I can try my Zork play. It sucks leaving the Serpent in the graveyard, but we needed this to go through, so we couldn't risk a trap dust shoot.
Yeah, if he has a dust shoot, it's just a blowout.
Yeah, it'd just be game over.
Yeah. And then if he doesn't have the Solemn, like, he's just got dead dust shoots and battle traps, so you're super happy just sitting on the soldier in play.
Exactly. So now I'm just clarifying that that's on that. And then we're going to try to run it over with Sook, just for the plus. We put this in defense. So the reason why we and that's the game because he has call for that. So it made no difference. My normal summon was going to be it didn't matter which one I tried to banish. I didn't want to put the Goblin face down so that he could flip it up and kill my Zork. So just in case that card was like a dead dust shoot, we're in a good spot. So I don't think we made any mistakes in this game. We're going to just go into game 2.
And then you have like a huge sideboard package for this deck, right? For this matchup?
Yeah, I think I sided probably 11 cards. I have it on my phone. I'm just going to pull it up so I can look at it. Actually, I have my deck just right in front of me. Make it easier to do like that. Let's see here. I don't think I changed anything. Yeah. So I think I put in the card that I don't know if I put in or not was Jinzo. I know he runs a lot of traps, but it also turns off my stuff. It has synergy with Call, but it is a tribute monster. It was more for burn, but it is decent against this list because I know he has like 15 or 16 traps with Ceasefire. So yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if I brought it in. So the number of cards I brought in are either 10 or 11 from my list. I'll just fan them in front of the camera, I guess. So it was either Jinzo, Gorillas for sure, Gorilla. I even brought in Kaiku. I know it's kind of weak against Warriors, but this particular matchup where he has Goblin attack forces, just another opportunity to run it over in defense and maybe get a banish in. Seems good. I brought in all my Sakus. Both my Solemns. I do main one. Contrary to popular belief, I think Solemn is extremely good against Warrior. They try to act and play they try to hold you down and keep it within this linear trajectory of, you have to answer their summon and attack, and they're going to deny your flip, and they're going to do this. Well, sometimes just, Solemning a Mystic Swordsman level 2, and now my spy's going to flip up. It's huge, and that's enough just to continue the game. And they don't really OTK. It's more of they summon an attack and do damage. In this game here, I think I steamroll him. So we open pot. It's very seldom I lose when I open cards like that. So we'll see how this thing goes. But I think that we do win this one in a blowout. And then he exiled my set to Koichi. It's okay.
It's a decent sign that he exiles your set on turn 1 too. Like, that's not one of the stronger Warrior opens.
No, it's very weak. It means he doesn't have a Nobleman. It also means he doesn't have Dawn because or Dawn and Nobleman combo, because you just go Dawn Nobleman. Probably doesn't have Swordsman or Rhoda access to either of it. In my head, there's a very likely chance that this flip's going to go through. And it was Spy. We're fine with this trade, of course.
At this point, it kind of has to feel like the game's over, right?
Yeah, we're in a really good spot. He has a waiting, sitting duck, Goblin attack force, and we have a face-up Spy. I think we have Sangan in our hand. I don't know. Nope. I wouldn't be surprised if I did and I just decided to set Faith there, because if it worked last turn, why wouldn't it work this turn? And also Faith can kill the Goblin as well. So It'd be a Faith that takes back pot and runs over a card. It's kind of crazy. Kaiku's fine with us. Ceasefire's annoying. Obviously, this is what I described in it. I remember this now. It is Faith. We're thinking. I think our set is book, but I mean, obviously, there's not much. It can't do anything in this chain, but and he books his own goblin, flips it up. So he just wants to reset. Yeah, our set is book. I remember this now because he attacks our Faith and we book it to take back pot, and then we also, his goblin's still going to be in defense, and then this is fine. We just need to dig at this point.
So what kind of cards do you think your opponent's sitting on right now in his hand?
Does he have a hand?
Yes,
two.
two.
Yeah, he has two. I mean, cards like Snatch Steal are possible. There's no point of him to snatch any of this stuff, and now we're just kind of steamrolling, so it doesn't really matter. I'm kind of lagged out.
Uh-oh.
We're at 9:37
even. Yep, there we go. We just jumped ahead like 10 seconds, but you're still on the graceful decision, so it's fine.
I don't think he has very much that can interact with us. I wouldn't feel comfortable bringing out like a naked BLS. He does have Kaiku up because, again, he could have Snatch. We didn't test for anything like that. But he doesn't have Rhoda. He would have used that already. He doesn't have Nobleman. So the cards in his hand, and he doesn't have Trap Dust Shoot because he would have set it.
Yeah.
So the cards in his hand are legitimate. We're about to find out. Again, this is like kind of a steamroll. I don't know what he just threw away.
I see a monster.
Yeah. And in this spot, I have, okay, we just took a look at it. It was Reaper.
Reaper Kaiku, I think.
So we have Heavy Storm in this spot, and we also have Breaker. So we have like a million ways to clear this board or be in an advantageous position. I was thinking about being really greedy and just summoning the Breaker, trying to attack over Kaiku because we have a lot of life. But we just decided to just trade resources and Heavy. It wouldn't have worked, my play, the extra greedy play, like reading Dust Tornado. And then I don't really like bringing out Breaker, but, he has no cards. So what's the worst that can happen? He Snatch Steals it, so what? He's looking at his grave.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a ton of live draws here either.
No. His best draw, I think, would be probably his Spy and just to sit on it. And then he brings out a Breaker to try to crash my Breaker. I think my set is Sakuretsu. I think I just let this happen. Because, again, Breaker is just a liability for it to be Snatch Stolen, so yep. I'm good with that. And I have another way. I have more monsters to kill that goblin. I have a Kaiku in my hand, so that's what we decided to do. At this point, I'm kind of just making sure that I can't lose the game. Trying to figure out what's the best possible play. I do bring out the Sork in this spot too because I want to play around him top decking Torrential for more pressure. And even if he does top deck Tribe, he doesn't have any cards to clear it. He's going to be top decking. So I'm just trying to ensure that we don't lose. And we have a Wing Blast in our hand too. So we'll Wing Blast whatever he sets, and it'll just be enough for lethal because we have to draw back the same card. So we are ahead, and this is obviously kind of a slow roll in quotations. But I just wanted to make sure that it's 100% locked down and we do get this game. And he kept a card in hand, so I do think that he did top deck Tribe. There's no other card that you wouldn't set in this spot. So I'm talking to myself here. I'm like, I think you have Tribe in hand. So I just bring out, this isn't lethal, but just go to attack. And then here comes the Tribe, of course, which I thought he had. And we just Wing Blast it, so it's just 100% game now. So we're going into a game 3 where we're going to be going second. I do side often based upon whether I'm going first or second. In this matchup, I think if I'm going second, I'll reduce the amount of flips. So let's see, I put one card on the table there. I wonder if I actually put it in or I did like a fake out.
Are you cutting a Dust Shoot going second in this match, or are you keeping them all in?
I take them all out.
Take them all out?
Yeah, I don't think that he, especially my opponent here, whenever he has an opportunity to set cards in the back row, he does do it. So
okay.
I'm trying not to dead draw more than I need to. Yeah, I take them all out because I'm putting in so many cards. I got to think of things to remove.
Fair enough. Yeah, you do have a hefty side deck package for this match.
Yeah. Warriors and Burn and Chaos are the 3 main decks I like to side for in a tournament.
Yeah, between those 3, you're probably running, like, depending on the tournament, of course, but it's probably like 80+% of the field.
Yeah, I would say so. This is a big game because I can be up 2-1, and then even if I lose game 4, I'll be going first in game 5. And it's the same for my opponent, obviously, too. So I'm looking to really, this game, I was like, I really need to win this one. I sometimes do this. I'll just randomly pile shuffle my opponent. Not that I don't trust my opponent or anything, but it is within the rules, and just give it a good mix.
Yep.
You never know.
Definitely want to make sure things are completely random on both sides, you know, especially in the big finals like this.
Yep.
So did you have any specific reads on this opponent from, like, playing him against Swiss?
Extremely aggressive. I wish I had Torrential Tribute in my deck for this guy. I got him on a big Mirror Force. I was kind of hoping, I was hoping for opportunities that I can 2-for-1 him, and I don't 2-for-1 him here. And then this is a pivotal turn here. So he sends back, I think he sends back my breaker in this spot. When he did that, I knew that back row is going to be Solemn Judgment exactly, because I would have summoned my breaker and tried to attack over it and pop. So that card's either Solemn or Dust, but I'm more leaning towards Solemn.
Either way, you're safe for Gorilla to get in there.
Yeah, the Gorilla's being summoned no matter what. I have Battle Traps in my hand as well, so some follow-up, and he's thinking about it here. And yeah, it dies. So I set 2, because if it's Solemn, he can't storm it. He loses Solemn, and then, yeah, we Saku here, of course. It does give him Light and Dark, but so what? I'm not losing my unit on this. If you have BLS, you have BLS in this spot. We also have another Saku in hand.
You have a ring, too, somewhere, right?
The ring's set.
The ring? Okay.
Yeah, so I set the ring because reading that's Solemn or Dust, I need to keep something to protect my Gorilla. And also, if he Solemns my Saku, I can ring it in Battle Step. And then we're okay with Tribe. I actually take the damage. It's just 1,600, so that's another tip to keep in consideration, too. There are going to be bigger things you want to use your Saku. And if we're reading that card is Solemn now, we kind of need both those cards to interact with each other. So this is just an attack and tribute. He's quite low now. He's taken a Gorilla direct, a Gorilla beatdown, and a Nat 16. So what is that, 36? He's at 38. Or sorry, he took 38. And then, yeah, this is what we were kind of waiting for. We're no way we're gonna give him this plus. And he does decide to Solemn it. I think he's hoping that I set both Sakus or something, or maybe he lost track. But then in a new chain, I'm actually thinking about not ringing this, because I might think it's because now he's super low, right? He took 38, now he's at 19. I'm thinking if I just let this thing die and I bring out another Gorilla or another top deck, I can just ring my own for game. But I think it's just better to protect your unit.
Protect it, ring, hope he doesn't have anything, and you kill him with Thunder Dragon.
Kill him with Thunder Dragon.
Makes sense.
So he's at 300 now, I believe, and or I think he's at 12. Yeah, I think he's real low. Spy kills him. So we're going into game 4 now.
Yeah, like you said, that was a pivotal one for you to take down.
Yeah.
How did you feel your opponent played throughout the finals?
He played extremely aggressive like I thought he would. I think he played okay in some of the spots, but he definitely made a lot of errors. A lot of sequential errors. When it comes to game 5, there's a pivotal error that he does make, which surprised me in the moment, that I was very happy that he made that mistake, because I think that he actually could have won game 5. So you could have had a different Grand Prix champion here.
I know for a second when I was spectating that, there was a spot where it was like, oh, this might be over. But, yeah, you were able to pull off a comeback.
so far there hasn't been anything really egregious. I think his solemn on the Saku in that spot was probably just him forgetting or not thinking I set ring.
And it kind of ties into, you said, like, he's playing super aggressive, so.
Yeah, but I mean, there's just no way in the world that I wouldn't ring it after thinking about that. And he needs to just know that I set ring there as well. So he should have known that in that spot.
Need to figure out a way to get, like, hand cameras for the next one so that we can see everything.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. So this is game 4. I'm trying to avoid a dust shoot. Unfortunately, we cannot. Wish we could see our hand. We have Graceful at least, which is cool.
Graceful Storm, double Kaiku upstart.
Okay, so this is a very pivotal spot, and I regret my decision in this. So if we can pause it right here.
Absolutely.
So this is one of the key turns in the finals that I really do regret. So he still has a back row and he has a set monster, so we can just discuss what his settable monsters are turn 0 likely. Obviously you can set anything you want, but if you think about likely monsters that he's going to set, it's probably in this order of likelihood. It's going to be Gravekeeper Spy post board, then it's going to be Reaper, then I guess DD Warrior Lady, and maybe Dawn. If he sets DD Warrior Lady, that doesn't really mean he has a terrible hand, but if he sets Dawn, I think that means he's monster clogged and he's trying to reduce the amount of monsters in his hand so he can bump up a Blade Knight in the future. So I'm thinking in my head that set card is Gravekeeper Spy. I don't have Noblemans in my deck, so that Spy is going to be extremely annoying to deal with. I don't think it's worth it to keep in the Noblemans just for Spies or a potential Reaper, because if we get into a top decking situation, we're going to be completely screwed. So now let's talk about our hand. We have Kaiku, Upstart, Heavy, and I don't know what our other card is. It was too fast.
Graceful.
Yeah, Graceful, Heavy, Kaiku. I don't know what.
The other. We can rewind it.
Yeah, we have an Upstart there too for sure.
Oops.
Yeah, it's like a Saku. That looks like Saku to you. I think. All right, let's see.
I'll crank it slow so we catch it.
Yeah, because this is a very important turn.
All right. It does look like
Saku.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Saku. So he's sending back a Kaiku. Our hand is Kaiku, Graceful, Heavy, Saku. I think that's Saku.
I think you're right. I think that is Sakuretsu.
So Heavy is very good against Warriors, but it's significantly worse when your opponent knows you have it. So while we definitely, this Heavy is nice to have, he only has one back row here, and I wanted to wait for a spot where we can do more damage with the Heavy, but, reviewing it now, what's more important than that Heavy Storm getting a +1 in the future, which he will never give me. Like, nobody gives you that. They know you have Heavy Storm. They're never going to give you a plus. They're just going to solemn the Storm in a situation where you're, presenting a plus. The play here is to Upstart Goblin, bring him to 9,000, evaluate what card you drew, and then I think you have to Heavy Storm, then Graceful. I do not decide to Heavy before Gracefuling, and the reason being is I was thinking that, okay, maybe I can just outgrind this guy because we have Sakuretsu armor, and if he solemns my Graceful, he's going to go down to 4,500, and maybe we can, outgrind it and just see where things go. But it's a very big mistake because it's all dependent on what we draw from Upstart.
Right.
If I drew Serpent from Upstart, I guarantee you I would have heavied because now our Graceful is going to be getting a real plus. If we drew Thunder Dragon, it'd be the same thing. Yeah. So it's also a small chance that this card is another Trap Dust Shoot, and if we heavy it and then he chains Dust Shoot, we're probably just going to lose. But it's very unlikely. I think it's more likely that it's Solemn or a Battle Trap or whatever, and we're fine with we're basically fine with it being anything except Solemn.
Yeah, if your Graceful gets Solemn here,
that's what ends up happening, and it does eventually turn into game over quite quickly. Our hand is actually really bad, especially when he knows all of the contents. So we don't end up heavying then using Storm. He Solemns it, of course, and we just can't play through it. So we can just go ahead and play the replay.
Yeah, so this is one of those games where, like, despite the match not ending here, this decision basically, determined the match.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to need to hit pot agreed or, a quality flip monster that resolves. And let's see what we draw off upstart. It's very important here. I drew Sangan.
Looks like Sangan, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could just set the Sangan and hope that it gets Nobleman or whatever, but we just decide to fire not Nobleman, goes to the graveyard. We decide to fire the Charity, and he does Solemn it. So now we're in a weak spot. We just decide to attack the face down instead of setting the Sangan or attacking with Sangan. And now he knows all of our cards. He knows that back row is now Saku. So we're in a terrible spot here. We're not under any pressure yet, but we know that cards are coming. So 45 to 78 is the current life. And we're as we're playing here, we're kind of just praying to God that we don't see, some pressure to get over our Kaiku. We're okay with trading with DD Warrior Lady because now we can just set our Sangan, and we're just facing 2 spies. Did we not bring out the Sangan there?
You did not summon Sangan.
Do I have Sangan in my hand for sure?
It looked like you drew the Sangan. I don't think it's shown since, but it did look like there was a Sangan in there, that upstart draw.
We take all of this. I don't know if we have Sangan for sure now, but I know we do for sure have Tribe.
I feel like you would have summoned it.
I feel like we have Tribe in hand. Because, okay, our set is Sakuretsu. Let's talk about this turn, too. Yeah, we don't have Sangan.
Okay.
That card is Tribe. It has to be because we have a set Sakuretsu armor here, and remember, we're at 7,800. So, and he knows that this card is Saku. The only way that we're going to win this game is by generating a massive plus. So we could easily use Sakuretsu armor on the Kaiku, but I thought to myself, what's the point? We're already really high. We're at 78. If we take this 42, what would that bring us to here? We're at 78.
36.
36. So we can go to 36, keep our Saku to protect our tribe, and just clean up the whole board, getting a plus, at least a +1. And if we have a Serpent, it'd just be a straight up +2, and keep our Saku to protect our tribe for the future. But we had to take that risk, and it's very unfortunate that he has Trap Dash Shoot here. So it is going. We're going to see our hand. I don't think I have Sangan, so we're going to have to retract that because I would have definitely said it.
There's no reason not to.
Yeah. So there's the tribe.
So it was Tribe.
Yeah. So we would have went Tribe, pitch,
and
Serpent.
then you drew the Serpent too. Yeah.
Serpent. It's
Brutal. Yep.
Just completely brutal. Because if he didn't have Shoot there, we probably would have won.
Yeah, you're definitely in a very strong position, and he doesn't have a lot of reach.
No,
he's got Ceasefire and Ring.
And then now the spot is, I think that you don't set. I mean, I think it's close to whether or not you even set the Serpent. He knows all of your cards. I think you kind of need a blocker, but you don't have now fodder for your Wing Blast. Let's see what we decide to do. We decide to not set it.
To just not set, probably bounce Kaiku or something.
Yeah, bounce Kaiku, or maybe even kill the Kaiku, and then just take some damage.
Yeah.
See what he does. Yeah, he just brings it all. So now we just have to kind of play to our outs. I think it's better if he top decks the Sasuke than the Kaiku. We can just kill the Kaiku. It's probably the best play. It also doesn't give him a light. Yeah, let's make him top deck that, and he's obviously going to go for game. That's going to get Saku'd. So we took 24. We're at 1,600. We picked this up, looking to top deck something. And yeah, we did top deck Spy. Yeah, it was Spy.
Yep.
And it just had Nobleman. So even if we set the Serpent, it just would have been Nobleman last turn. However, we do live because we would have to throw away Heavy Storm with the Wing Blast. But I don't know. We're just kind of stalling. I don't think we're ever winning that.
Yeah, that was, I mean, you had a couple of very good draws there, and it still wasn't enough.
Yeah, it all came down to that turn 0. If we could have Graceful Charity'd, we would have set ourselves up in a better spot. It was just me being greedy. And I shouldn't have been because we were blessed with a decent hand after being dust shot. So the next time play is just to upstart, see what we get, and then Heavy Storm.
So coming into this match, did you feel like your opponent had an edge on you overall in skill, or did you feel like you were better in this spot and more skilled than your opponent?
I don't want to talk confidently about come off as cocky. I felt like I was a pretty big favorite. in this because I've been in this spot before, and it being best of 5, I felt like I would have more opportunities to adapt to my opponent's siding. And while he definitely has an advantage game 1, I feel like I had an advantage in every other game.
Yeah.
So even if we went to distance, which we ended up did, I felt like my deck had an advantage.
And I don't want to speak for your opponent's successes. Like, I don't know how well he grinds online. I know you have had several like high dollar money matches.
Yeah.
So this was like a spot where the pressure seemed to me at least like it was less likely, to get to you than to your opponent.
Yeah, this was. I've been in a lot of spots like this, playing for large sums of money. It's just you got to play your game.
Yeah.
There's a reason you got to this situation to begin
Right.
with. We have an abysmal hand. We can talk about this here.
Sure.
So this is not what you want to open in a game 5 with all of the money and the Grand Prix on the line. I think I sided down to 2 Decoy. Sorry, I only played 2 Decoychis. The only flips I kept in my deck, I took up my Knight Assailants, were Spy, Faith, and Decoychi. Our hand, I believe, is Solemn Judgment, Thunder Dragon, Magician of Faith, and 1 Decoychi. And we upstarted to get the Solemn. So we would have been completely monster clogged, which I think is just game over. And we only sided to 21 monsters or even 20 monsters. We might have even went down with all of the stuff we removed because we're only adding gorillas really. And kaikus, but we're taking out so many monsters. We have a very weak hand, and we actually can't afford our light to be removed. Sorry, our dark to be removed because we already did the pitch for Thunder Dragon. This is a clear spot, in my opinion, that you do set the Solemn just in case things go completely sour or he pots and you want to, negate that, I guess. But I mean, that again, Solemning a pot against Warriors turn 0 is not what the Solemn in my deck is intending to do. That is not the situation. The play here is quite clear. We can't afford a Nobleman or a Decoychi. We need cards from our deck. We have another Magician of Faith. The play is just to set the Faith and set the Solemn and just hope for the best. But we have a terrible hand. Terrible. Loses the Blade Knight completely. The whole hand loses the Blade Knight. You're going to Solemn the Blade Knight? You can't do that. He's just going to premature burial
Not on
back.
turn 1, no.
No. So this is where he makes his pivotal mistake. He mind controls our Faith.
Yep.
We're like, okay, takes back mind control. Then he uses Graceful.
This is where, to me, it looked like the pressure was getting to Shane. And this was Shane's very first live GOAT tournament.
Yeah, this is just a clear mistake. I feel like you just used a Graceful, and then you decide after whether or not you want that mind control back, or you take back the Graceful. And he throws away Dawn, which is also a mega mistake. Because if he summons Dawn instead of Kaiku here, I'm not going to Solemn the Dawn, but he's going to be getting my hand.
Right, Dawn puts in a lot of work here.
All he's taking is a Thunder Dragon that I got for free that I really don't care about because I have another one in my hand. And then he sets 2 cards and passes, and then we're not going to Solemn Dust Shoot. Let's see what we drew for turn. We drew Wing Blast, thankfully. Just some sort of removal.
Yep. And so your play here probably is what? Set Train, flip Magician to defense and pass? Or do you set the Magician to cycle?
He has a mind control in his hand. He just took it
yeah.
back. There's
That's
nothing we
right.
can do. I mean, the play is just to turn the Faith and defense and set the Wing Blast.
So at some point, do you think you have to try to get that mind control out of his hand, or do you feel you're just like way too behind to even try to force it?
I can't set the Decoychi here. I can't give him a card. We're going to be getting back. So we could talk about that actually too.
Sure.
It's very important. So while it feels like on paper that we eventually need to get through this mind control, we absolutely do. I'm never Solomoning the mind control. I can't afford to do that. The Solemn is going to be my key to victory in this match, and it's going to be for later streets. It's not going to be for here. If you set a Decoychi and it gets mind controlled, he's going to draw, and then you're going to get back a 1400 vanilla, which he's then going to kill from Kaiku. So it's a completely terrible transaction. Yeah, it's not good. And obviously setting Faith, he's going to mind control back and take Graceful Charity. So
yeah, you can't set Magician.
No, this is just very, very bad. We're hoping to survive a couple more turns.
From right here, your opponent's even through the mind control mistake, he's still kind of a pretty big favorite, right, in this board
I think
state?
he's an 80-20 favorite currently, maybe even more, to be honest with you. It's very bad.
It looks like it's a really rough spot for you.
Yeah, it's very bad. Rodas, so here we have an interesting spot. I was thinking about Wing Blasting the Kaiku so it gets shuffled in, acting like a a pseudo Regeki break just in the chain. We decide not to.
Because if he grabs like Don here and just goes for it, it's kind of brutal for
The
you,
reason
right?
why I didn't was because I didn't want to influence him or on his decision. I wanted him to take Goblin, which is like the worst option. So I was
Yeah.
thinking to myself, there's a chance he'll take Goblin Attack Force, which would be just so good for me because that's going to give me a lot of time. This is a huge mistake. His take here, this was a bigger mistake than his Graceful Charity mistake, and I'll explain why. This Goblin is only pressure for one turn, and he decides to take a Goblin instead of any. To be honest with you, I think the best card he could have taken was probably Mystic Swordsman. It stops me from setting anything. You have Mind Control to follow up. I would have to normal summon something to try to run over the level 2, and if you can just protect it,
Right,
I
if
think
that's like the battle trap.
it's just a 100% chance you win.
Yeah, and that way too, like it lets him hold the mind control for for some way you get a chaos monster out, right? He's got the answer for it.
I think his best monster was actually level 2.
Swordsman
His
doesn't
second
have
best was probably
like Don, or you think something
Don's
else?
in the graveyard, but
Oh, yeah.
I think his second best would either be a DD Warrior Lady or a Blade Knight. I don't know the full contents of his hand, but I felt like there's a small chance that my opponent will take a Goblin, which was like by far the worst choice, and we got what we wanted. Here we just take I guess we can't afford to lose those lights. We can control his draw, so we influenced him to take something, and he doesn't solemn and he lets it go. Now we can normal summon the Koichi and run over his Goblin. It will die to Kaiku next turn, but who cares? And we're thinking, again, we can't set, right? Because we know he has Mind Control. We know he's drawing into Kaiku. So the play is just to try to challenge the card. We let that go. And what did we set there? I think it was Storm.
I missed it, but I know at some point was it the middle card you just set?
No.
No?
That's Solemn. I think we set Storm.
Okay. I know. However the board lays out, the Storm ends up being your middle card, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think you did set the Storm.
Yeah, so he's looking at that card, and we're not going to Solemn that because I'm reading that he set a Solemn behind it, thinking so long there. So yeah, this sucks, but whatever, we secured our dark at least.
You're happy he grabbed.
What did we draw here? I think we drew a battle trap.
It.
I think we drew a battle trap.
The one you set.
Yeah.
Yep, battle trap.
Okay, so that was one of our better top decks. And remember, he still has that Mind Control. So he wrote us, and we're praying to God he takes another Goblin. Like, I'll trade my life points for a little bit of time. This time he takes Blade, which is unfortunate. I think Goblin Attack Force sucks, by the way. I think that really hurt him, having it in his deck overall. This is just 1,600, so I wouldn't be surprised if I took it. Yeah, I just took it. And we have Solemn set, so again, we're kind of trying to set up for a point where we get and we bait him here. He mind controls our Sangan, which is exactly what we needed. The 2 grand will Saku now, and also if you look at the board, we have a +1 if we want it. We can Pro Storm him now.
Yep.
I don't decide to do it because there's no follow up. It would be just kind of storming to storm. And I'm also expecting that he has a Solemn down, so we'd have to Solemn a Solemn. We would go even lower. So this is why I'm thinking so much here. I'm like, do I storm this guy and cash into plus? I decide not to, and I think I just set Call of the Haunted.
Now you're really hoping that Sangan dies this turn.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that his set card is Gravekeeper Spy. Again, all sets are Gravekeeper Spies.
Yeah, I know sometimes they'll have a Magician in the side deck they'll bring in, but I don't think Shane did.
No, I don't think so. I didn't see it at all. And then he brings out DD Warrior Lady. That's not going to go through. I can't let that get banished. We Wing Blast it. And he's thinking with the Spy whether or not to attack. Hoping that he attacks my Sangan. Attacks my Faith, which is taking Upstart. We actually both knew what that card was, so we had 2 Faiths in our hand. Yep. He should have known that was Faith as well, so he did, and he just gave me an Upstart, which is fine. What did we draw? So this is an interesting spot. If we could pause here. We know he's drawing DD Warrior Lady for turn, so the Sangan is liable to get banished. We have Call of the Haunted in our hand. Our sets are Heavy Storm and Solemn. I think that the play here is that you're looking to crash the Sangan into the Spy, get a settable monster. He doesn't have Nobleman, he doesn't have Exiled Force, and we know he's drawing into DD Warrior Lady. So the Sangan is as good as banished next turn. We need this in the graveyard for our call. So take the 200, search out Spy, and just go from there. That's the play. And there's nothing really he can do to stop it, stop this play either, because you can't really, you Sakuretsu a Sangan, I'm going to get the same result.
Right.
Yep, take the 200, and of course, I mean, if he has Book would be really good there. Book your own Spy, I'll take 1,000, and yep, this searches Spy. Give my opponent my deck. So we have Call in our hand. And we do set the call, I think. Yep. So he draws the known DD Warrior Lady. He summons DD Warrior Lady, attacks our set. And we know it's Spy. So I don't know if I have a way of answering this with a Saku or not down. I might or I might not. I could just be bluffing, but I don't think I do.
Yeah, I think you've got Solemn, Storm, Call right now.
Yeah, I think I was just bluffing, and he decides to banish it, so we get a +1 off of that. We're good with that.
Yeah, you're happy about that.
Yep. Draw for turn. Still a huge plus now if we heavy and call with Sangan. Also, Sangan's going to get a search, which is going to be a settable monster.
And this is like, at this point, it's kind of feeling like the tide's shifting, right?
Yeah, I feel like now I'm a small favorite.
Yeah, I was going to say closer to 50-50 or your small favorite.
Yeah, we're definitely not behind anymore. We decide not to do the play of call and heavy this turn. It's because we drew such a quality card of Kaiku. It prevents his BLS coming out if he does have one, which I was very concerned about. But you know, we did summon it, and I think our set card is actually just Berserk Gorilla. We're just trying to just get something on the board, and we're fine with him killing it too, or whatever. Not really fine with it, but we just needed to get some monsters. Yeah, now we're just starting to set BS.
Yeah, just clog the board up.
Yeah, just so we don't get OTK'd, and we bait out a Nobleman on our Kaiku, and again, the Kaiku was doing nothing. These are meaningless pieces. We have no way of clearing his board. And we're just looking to trade cards, so trading for a Nobleman on a set Kaiku is huge. Our Dekoichi in the future is now going to resolve. So now I'm looking through his graveyard, just trying to determine if this is the turn I want to do my play. If I drew any sort of protection, maybe like another Solemn or something, then my play becomes more attractive. Checking the grave again. Do we decide to do it here? Nope, one more turn. And we're not attacking the Kaiku. There's no reason to play into any of his cards back there. And then we bait out an Exiled Force on a Gorilla.
Always happy about that.
And again, there's no reason to attack. And then he snatches our...
Snatches the Spy, right?
Yeah, he snatches the Spy. He's just trying to get away. He's just trying to hope to crash Kaikus. I have a battle trap myself at this point. I'm never going to let him do that.
I feel like this is like a short-sighted play on his part, just because it's so likely for you to have a battle trap.
This is his death wish, to be honest with you. This is where he lost the game. Because now on my turn, if we count all the cards here, plus my call, getting a Sangan search, this was kind of what I was waiting for. I held a Solemn and a Heavy and a call forever for an opportunity like this. This brings me to 5,000 life. I remember this play now.
Yep. And now, you know, like with the snatch and play too, the shields are down on his part.
Yeah, so I'm expecting him to have a Solemn. So if we can talk about this play here.
Sure.
The way the chain link is going to work, I'm expecting him to have one Solemn, not multiple. I expect him to have probably one or two or maybe even Ring up there with one Solemn. So he has 4 back rows. One is a face-up snatch. We're assuming one Solemn and probably not another one. Our play is to call the Haunted first, take out Sangan, then use Storm, and if he Solemns, we Solemn. Why do it in that order? It's because if we use Storm and he Solemns, I have to Solemn back, and I will not get an opportunity to use Call now. So we need the Call to be already active with Sangan for this chain.
Yep. Plus, if he decides to randomly Solemn a Call, you're happy about that.
Oh,
too,
yeah, that's
so.
fine. That's fine. So we're thinking, and I've decided this is the turn I'm going to make the play, target Sangan. And now if we count the amount of cards here, so Sangan's going to get a search, so we'll call the Call, neutral trade.
Yep.
We're going to lose one set card for 4 of his cards, and 1 of the cards are going to be returning a card to us. So this is like...
This is a very brutal turn.
This is now, if this resolves...
It's like 85-15
it's like
or so.
85-15, I would say, something like that. And it's even better if we don't have to use our Solemn to respond to his Solemn, keeping life. So that's actually what ends up happening. He ends up having like a House of Battle Trap set. So
Yeah, I think he has 3. It's like double Sakuretsu and a widespread or something.
Yeah, mirror
Sakuretsu widespread. So this is just like, I don't want to say dream scenario for you, but this is really, really good.
Yeah, so this also means that he allowed the Koichi to run over his Goblin attack force, which is probably right, to be honest with you, because you know you're drawing Kaiku next turn, and the Goblin already did its job. So
Yeah.
I don't really think he made a mistake by holding that, but I mean, we're so happy about this. And then our search is very clear. It's not Serpent. He doesn't have a Nobleman. Let's just go ahead and set it.
And how different would this game have been if it was just like a Blade Knight instead of a Goblin?
I wouldn't have had the time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had any time.
He'd have had so much more pressure.
We actually have to Solemn this because the Breaker is 100% going to be attacking our Kaiku. I'm actually reading that card in his hand is BLS, or BLS are a very important piece. It ends up being Tribe Infecting Virus, but that's on the same level of importance. So he has one card in hand. I remember saying BLS is probably the card. Draw from Koichi. And Kaiku is just, in my eyes, Kaiku is doing really its job here because I'm thinking that card is BLS. Suki comes down, and that's our whole turn. So again, we are vulnerable here. We're at only 2,500 life. And he's still not he's not using Tribe, obviously, because he's going to lose his whole board and kill the Koichi, which is not a good play.
Now, talking about this for a second, do you think there's merit to him putting a spy in attack mode, running over your train just to break your Suku lock?
He has to.
Like, because he's going to lose 2 from Kaiku running it over, but if he doesn't stop you, you're drawing 2 cards a turn and the game ends.
Yeah,
right?
So we're getting basically a pot of greed in our turn. We're
Yeah.
drawing 2, and we have a recurring issue, and also we have a defensive Koichi. He needed to kill this.
Yeah, this one on a couple of turns, and there was no turn where he runs it over.
Yeah, he needed to break this lock. And also, if you have a battle trap back there, so let's say your spy kills the Koichi, right? Next turn, I'm going to say, okay, I have to try to kill this spy.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't. I mean, 3 of them are in the graveyard, so I think I would probably try. So I would try to go Kaiku into the spy, and you just lose 1 spy, or you answer it if you have a card. But you can't let this operation continue. Like, this is just nuts.
No, you can't. You can't be allowed to draw an extra card like that every turn.
Yeah, and keep our body, too.
Yeah.
So we're checking for Torrential here. But it doesn't matter. If he has Torrential, we're still drawing.
And you're kind of getting rid of a spy wall, too, so...
So this is where, if he had Torrential, the Suki's going to be really brutal. I remember counting the amount of cards in my deck here because we're reaching that point. I also want to know where my Trinity's at and where our BLS or Sork is. So I'm doing the math in my head, like how long can this operation go on from where the card there has gone in from him, and also how long till we're going to hit our gas. Our Storm is gone too, obviously, and we have no way of getting it back from Faith. So we're going to have to play through a lot of cards. There's no removal. The only removal we have is going to be an MST or a Breaker.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately, your Typhoon hit the dead dust chute.
It's actually not dead because
yeah.
It actually was good because our Tsukiyomi,
break the Suku.
Yeah, our Suki loop and our hand stays concealed. And we have BLS and Sork in our hand here.
Yeah, at this point, it's what, like, you're worried about maybe Torrential, you're worried about...
I'm worried about Ring.
Yeah, Ring, Ceasefire. Ceasefire is a win for him.
Yep. Yeah, Ceasefire would have been completely brutal. So he books it, and this is a pivotal turn here. If you could pause. So our life is 2,500. When he used book on spy, I didn't know for sure whether or not he ran 3 spies or not. But the other consideration is I know now that that card in his hand is not BLS, and I'll explain why. There's no way that you would use book there because the Kaiku is face up, and you can't bring out BLS with Kaiku up, obviously. And also, if you find a way to answer my Kaiku, keeping book for protection is huge. So there's actually only one card that card in his hand can be with him using book, and that card is Tribe. It absolutely has to be Tribe in his hand. So the spot is kind of interesting because we're at 2,500. I want to take away him having the opportunity to ring us for game. So I was debating whether or not to, and our Sork can't attack, right? We don't have BLS yet, I don't think. So, because I think I would have brought it here. But I was thinking about attacking his set card with my Kaiku and taking 200, just so that if he goes Tribe, he loses his spellcasters as well. I decide not to because our set is book, and we're going to end up booking our Sork when the Tribe comes. So I did know he had Tribe at this point, but I didn't want to take the 200, giving him another top deck of ring on our Sork, which would just be game, because we're going to be losing our book. So we'll see how this plays out. But at this point, I take my time because I'm debating attacking this set, and I decide not to. So does Suki put it down, and then thinking here. We're thinking about attacking. We decide not to, again, for the reason I described. And then here comes his Tribe. And he throws away Solemn. We're so fine with this because our set is book. So I remember saying, I knew you had Tribe. I'm just talking through it. And we're in a really good spot here.
Yeah, this could have got scary if you didn't have the book.
Yep, so book saved us in this spot. And now he has no cards to our tons. It's like 90-10 now. His only way of winning is going to be through ring. His snatch is gone too.
Yeah.
We have Delinquent, which is completely dead. So wrong timing for a Trinity piece. So I don't banish here with BLS, I don't attack the set, which is a mistake actually. I was thinking about it in my head. I was kind of concerned that he had guard or another spy, which even if he did, my BLS can just kill it. This was a turn, actually, I think I make a pretty big mistake on, and I'll explain why. Not the attacking part, but leaving ourselves open to Ring of Destruction is a big mistake. I just kind of seeing dollar signs and a bigger clock, but it's actually more of a lock. It's less of a clock, but it's more of a lock of a win if I bring out Suki and put my BLS face down, because that means we can't lose.
Yep.
So this mistake, this turn's a mistake. The clock doesn't change whether or not I attack this attack this Tribe or banish it. His premature is not gone yet, so I do decide to banish it, which I think is right. But the play should have been attack with BLS, get your damage in that way. Attack even with the Sork could be a lot of damage, and then soak down your BLS. So if he top decks ring here, he wins. Doesn't get it. His Mirror Force is gone. His Torrential is not. And then he takes it all, so I couldn't summon into Torrential. He goes down to 200 here, I believe. So now we can't lose from ring, but it'd be a draw. And now we're just setting, and then he top decks pot. So we have ring set. We're thinking whether or not to ring now, so just in case he doesn't drop Book of Moon. Ring does get stopped by Solemn, but again, we cannot lose. We're only looking for a draw. The only way we're only going to get a draw if we there's no losses out of the question. So then obviously this gets met with Solemn, and he gets to dig for 2 cards. Hoping that he doesn't hit ring. He obviously doesn't. We end up winning here, but he could have got a draw if he hit ring. Attack for game. No reason to summon anything. Might have Torrential. We have lethal, way lethal on board. Mirror Force is gone. We did top deck Graceful Charity, so that's why I kind of took my time, and then that's how we wrap it up.
Okay. So, what were your final thoughts like on this match, and the matches you played throughout the day?
This game 5 was one of the hardest matches. Actually, this was definitely the hardest game I played all day. There were many spots where I could have lost. If I was impatient with my storm and I cashed it in early for a meaningless plus, I think I would have lost. If I was less careful with my mind control, trying to bluff him, like, hey, take this card. I knew that Shane was going to use the mind control when he had an opportunity to use it, so thankfully we hit a Sangan. Could have been a Serpent, could have been whatever, any junk. But we had a lot of opportunities to lose this game. We played this one really well. I think our opponent made lots of mistakes in Game 5, but it is possible. It's a finals, it's high stakes. There's
a lot of pressure on Game 5 for that kind of money.
Absolutely, and I didn't play perfect myself. Like I said, that Tsukiyomi turn was like I think he has like maybe let's say 20 to 25 cards in his deck. Maybe let's call it 22. He had a 1 out of 22 chance of winning on his turn when I could have just made it 0 by Sukiing my BLS down.
Yeah.
Just 0. No chance of winning. At most, you're going to get a draw. So we gave him a 1 out of 22 chance to win when he should have just had a 0 chance of winning. So we made a mistake on our turn. Tsukiyomi was the key there. We also didn't attack with BLS for some reasons, but the big mistake was not Sukiing it. So we didn't play perfect either. I just think we played overall better than our opponent.
Fair enough. Well, I'd like to thank Adam for taking the time out of his day to come here and kind of run over this VOD review with me. I do plan on doing a few more of these coming up in the future, and if you like content like this, the higher level content where we talk with some like very great players. Adam is legitimately probably the best GOAT player on the planet, right? So you don't get insight into someone's mind like that very often. And I do appreciate him taking the time for that. And if you like to see higher level content like this, let us know, in the comments below or, on Facebook. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and have a great one. And once again, congratulations, Adam, on being the GOAT Grand Prix Detroit 2024 champion.
Thanks, DJ.